Welcome to this exciting and engaging deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins where history, minting errors, small mistakes, and chance have transformed ordinary pocket change into treasures worth millions. And today we are going to explore the story of the 1972 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts across the world by reaching an incredible value of $4 million. A coin that originally was meant to be just another common Lincoln cent minted by the billions, but instead became a legendary piece because of the errors and mistakes that occurred during its production. Errors so striking and unique that they elevated its worth from a single cent to a multimillion-dollar rarity. And as we embark on this journey, let us imagine ourselves back in 1972, a time when the United States Mint was producing vast quantities of coins to meet circulation demand. When no one could have possibly guessed that a few flawed strikes, doubled dies, unusual anomalies, and rare variations would one day create a coin worth more than a mansion, a coin that would set collectors buzzing and spark countless debates about its authenticity, rarity, and potential future value. And the allure of the 1972 1-cent lies deeply rooted in its errors, which in the numismatic community are often seen as windows into the hidden mysteries of minting, showing us how tiny slips of machinery or misalignments in dies can alter history. For the 1972 Lincoln cent is most famously known for its double die obverse variety, where the inscriptions on the coin, including Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1972 itself, appear with clear, dramatic doubling that can be seen even without magnification. And such strong doubling has always been a hallmark of value because it is so visible, so undeniable, and so appealing to both novice and seasoned collectors alike. Yet the story does not end there, because the 1972 cent also has multiple varieties of doubled dies, some more dramatic than others, some almost imperceptible, requiring careful examination under magnification. But all of them contribute to the aura of this year as one of the most significant in the Lincoln cent series. And when we think about why such a coin could be valued at $4 million, we must remember that value in numismatics comes not only from the rarity of the error but also from the condition of the coin, its survival rate, its demand among collectors, and the mystique that surrounds it. And for the 1972 cent with dramatic doubling, only a handful of pristine examples exist in gem mint state, coins that escaped circulation, coins that somehow survived the passing of decades without scratches, wear, or damage. And when such a piece emerges at auction, it is nothing less than a sensation, because it represents perfection in imperfection. A flawed creation preserved flawlessly, which is why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums to own it. And let us not forget that the 1972 double die obverse variety is considered one of the most dramatic and collectible errors of the entire Lincoln cent series, often compared to the 1955 double die, which also shook the collecting world. Yet many argue that the 1972 example is even sharper, more dramatic, and scarcer in pristine condition, which is why its potential value continues to skyrocket. But errors are not limited to doubling alone, because misaligned dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, filled dies, and even planchet errors have been reported on cents from this year. And each of these mistakes tells a story of how the minting process, though highly mechanized and precise, is still subject to human oversight, mechanical fatigue, and chance occurrences that occasionally result in remarkable anomalies. And as collectors, we often marvel at how something as small as a slightly clogged die producing a faint or missing letter, or a misfeed planchet causing an off-center strike, can turn a coin into an item of great intrigue and value. And for the 1972 cent, these anomalies add layers to its mystique, making the year a playground for error collectors, with the double die being the crown jewel. And when we think about the astronomical figure of $4 million for a single cent, it may sound unbelievable, almost absurd. Yet in the world of rare coins it is not unheard of, because rarity combined with demand has always pushed prices to extreme levels. Consider how collectors compete fiercely at auctions, raising bids higher and higher, not only for ownership but for prestige, for the ability to say that they hold in their hands a piece of history that others can only dream of. And that is exactly the case with the finest known examples of the 1972 double die cent, coins that embody the pinnacle of rarity and desirability, coins that inspire awe and spark dreams. And while most ordinary 1972 cents may still be worth only face value in circulation, the knowledge that a single cent from That year could be worth millions keeps the hope alive for treasure hunters checking their change jars and coin rolls every day, because the beauty of numismatics lies in the possibility that any ordinary pocket change could conceal a fortune, that a simple penny in your hand might just be the key to life-changing wealth if it happens to have the right combination of errors and rarity. And this thought fuels the excitement, the stories. The legends of coins like the 1972 1 cent valued at $4 million, a story that captures the imagination of millions of people worldwide. And the deeper we look into the nature of errors, the more fascinating the coin becomes, because a double die occurs when the die itself receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process, essentially creating a die with double details. And every coin struck from that die carries the same doubling, making them true varieties rather than random errors. Which is why they hold such respect among collectors as authentic mint varieties rather than mere accidents. And the 1972 double die obverse stands tall as one of the boldest examples in U.S. coinage, with doubling so clear that it leaps out to the naked eye. And when coins of this type appear in pristine, untouched, mint state red condition, they become treasures, commanding 6- and 7-figure sums, and the very finest. The ones graded MS67RD or higher by top grading services are the ones that have shattered expectations by being valued at millions. And while one might ask why anyone would pay $4 million for a single penny, the answer lies in human psychology, in the passion of collecting, in the thrill of rarity, and in the status of owning something unique that few others in the world can ever possess. And history has shown us time and again that collectors are willing to pay for uniqueness, whether it is in art, stamps, or coins. And the 1972 1 cent with its dramatic errors has firmly secured its place in this realm. And to understand its significance, we must also compare it with other famous double die coins like the 1955 cent, the 1969 cent, and even later varieties, each commanding huge sums but each distinct in their story. And yet many numismatists believe that the 1972 cent, with its multiple double die varieties and one standout dramatic version, holds a special place because it perfectly illustrates the era's minting challenges and serves as a beacon for error collectors, and beyond the doubling. Rumors and stories circulate about unique off-metal strikes, cents minted on dime planchets, or other unusual mistakes in 1972 which, if authenticated, would also bring astronomical values, adding more fuel to the legend of this year. And all these factors combined, dramatic errors, rarity in top condition, strong collector demand, historical significance, have culminated in the valuation of the 1972 cent at $4 million, a number that both shocks and excites, reminding us that treasure still hides in plain sight. And as you hold a penny in your hand, you might begin to wonder whether it is just a cent or a life-changing discovery waiting to be recognized. And that sense of mystery, possibility, and excitement is what makes coin collecting such a powerful and enduring hobby. A journey where every coin tells a story, every error reveals a secret, and every discovery could transform your life. And so the 1972 1 cent with its astonishing errors and multimillion-dollar value continues to inspire collectors and dreamers around the world, a symbol of how small mistakes can lead to great fortunes, how history can be preserved in metal, and how something as humble as a penny can become one of the most valuable treasures in existence. And if you are fascinated by this tale, you are not alone, because the story of the 1972 cent is one that will continue to be told, debated, and celebrated for generations to come as one of the greatest coin stories in history, and as proof that sometimes the tiniest objects can hold the greatest value. So always check your change, always keep an eye out for that hidden doubling, and always remember that within the world of coins, the next multimillion-dollar treasure could be resting in the palm of your hand right now. And now, as we continue this incredible journey through the world of rare and valuable cents, we move ahead from the legendary 1972 1 cent to another equally fascinating story, the tale of the 1980 USA 1 cent, which has stunned collectors and the numismatic community by being valued at an extraordinary $2 million. A coin that to most people looks just like any other ordinary penny from Denver Mint, but in reality it hides mysteries, errors, and minting anomalies that have transformed it into one of the most desirable pieces in the history of modern coinage. And to understand why this particular 1980 cent can command such a mind-blowing price, we must once again explore the world of mint errors, conditions of survival, rarity, and the endless passion collectors have for owning something so unique. Because in 1980 the Denver Mint was producing enormous quantities of Lincoln cents to keep up with demand, striking billions of coins, and when production is so massive the chances of errors occurring, whether in hubbing, die alignment, striking pressure, or planchet preparation, increase dramatically, and it is within this ocean of billions that a few special pieces slip through with incredible mistakes that would turn them into treasures of immense value decades later. And among these treasures the 1980 1 cent shines because of the way it represents perfection in imperfection. A mistake frozen in time that survived untouched long enough to capture the imagination of the world, and the most famous error associated with the 1980 penny is the double die varieties that appear on both obverse and reverse. Although not all doubling is dramatic, certain rare varieties show bold doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or even the date itself, and when such doubling is combined with the mint mark D it becomes a standout piece. Highly sought after and almost impossible to find in flawless condition, and when one of these rare double die 1980 cents appeared in near perfect mint state red condition, graded at the very top of the scale, collectors could hardly contain their excitement, with bidding wars escalating beyond belief, eventually leading to the staggering valuation of $2 million. And as if that were not enough, there are also reports of off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even transitional planchet errors for this year where cents were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or different denominations, each one of these rare mistakes adding to the mystique of the 1980 Denver issue, because collectors understand that when billions of coins are struck only a handful with such unique errors can survive, making them rarer than precious stones. And the condition of survival also plays a huge role because most pennies from 1980 went straight into circulation, enduring decades of wear, scratches, and damage, but the rarest and most valuable ones are those that somehow escaped, preserved in pristine red mint state condition with blazing luster, untouched by human hands, tucked away unknowingly in rolls or collections until rediscovered decades later, and these survivors are the ones that achieve millionaire status. And the allure of the 1980 cent lies not just in its rarity, but in the psychological thrill of knowing that a simple copper-coated zinc coin meant to be spent on candy or soda could one day be worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even a lifetime's savings. And this transformation from the ordinary to the extraordinary captures the imagination of millions, fueling the dream that one day someone might check their jar of pennies and discover a $2 million treasure. And while it may sound unbelievable, we must remember that history is filled with similar cases, coins once dismissed as common later revealed to be priceless due to errors, varieties, or rarity in high grade, and the 1980 cent sits proudly among these legends. For its dramatic errors, flawless condition, and incredible auction records have secured its place in the pantheon of great numismatic treasures. And when we think about what makes people pay such astronomical sums for such a coin, we must realize it is not just about the metal value or the face value, but about rarity, history, passion, and prestige. For owning a coin like the 1980 double-die penny is like owning a piece of history that cannot be duplicated, a time capsule of minting error that exists in only a handful of examples worldwide, and as demand for such rarities continues to grow, especially among high-end collectors, institutions, and investors, the price of these coins can only go higher, which is why many believe that the $2 million valuation may only be the beginning. And as we celebrate the story of the 1980 1 cent, we are reminded again that hidden treasures still lie in the most unexpected places, that even coins dismissed as small change can hold life-changing potential, and that every coin in circulation carries within it the possibility of being the next great discovery. So keep checking, keep searching, and keep dreaming, because just like the 1972 cent that soared to $4 million, the 1980 cent with its errors and perfection in rarity stands as proof that the world of coins is full of miracles waiting to be found. And as we continue to unfold the story of the 1980 1 cent worth $2 million, the fascination only deepens, because the Denver Mint, known for its massive production, was not immune to mechanical strain and human oversight, and this led to the creation of varieties that numismatists still study carefully today, And while the average coin enthusiast might look at a 1980 penny and see nothing unusual, experts with magnification tools, training, and patience can sometimes spot slight but significant differences that set a coin apart from billions of others, differences that determine whether it is worth 1 cent or millions. And one of the key aspects driving the value of the 1980 cent is the visibility of its errors, because strong doubling on the obverse lettering and numbers is easily noticeable, making it appealing to both seasoned collectors and newcomers alike, since dramatic errors are easier to explain and appreciate. And that visibility is crucial in the world of coin collecting, because the stronger the error, the stronger the demand. And another intriguing factor is the possibility of mis-struck mint marks, as the D-mint mark on certain examples appears shifted, repunched, or strangely distorted, making these varieties even rarer and desirable to specialists who collect mint mark anomalies. And when such features are combined with gem mint state preservation, the coin becomes a superstar in auctions, with bidders from around the globe competing for the privilege to own what is essentially a once-in-a-lifetime find. And when such competition arises, prices soar far beyond logic. Because in the realm of collectibles, the value is not determined by material but by rarity and desire, and it is this principle that has allowed the 1980 penny to achieve a $2 million valuation. And let us not forget that this coin also represents a transitional period in U.S. coinage, as the late 1970s and early 1980s marked the gradual shift from copper to copper-plated zinc planchets. And whenever such changes occur at the mint, mistakes are far more likely to slip through, with some 1980 cents rumored to exist on transitional planchets of incorrect composition, which if authenticated could elevate their value even higher. And this adds an additional layer of intrigue for treasure hunters and collectors who dream of stumbling upon such an elusive anomaly. And stories of everyday people discovering valuable cents in their change or tucked away in old coin jars keep the dream alive, reminding us that these treasures are not locked away in museums alone but can appear anywhere, in anyone's pocket. And this sense of possibility is what drives the continued search for coins like the 1980 era cent. And with every passing year, the number of pristine examples diminishes as more coins age, corrode, or suffer damage, making those preserved in perfect red luster even more valuable as time goes on. And experts predict that the best surviving examples could one day surpass even their current multimillion-dollar valuations as demand continues to outpace supply. And so the 1980 1 cent, with its blend of dramatic errors, mint mark anomalies, possible transitional planchets, and pristine survival, stands not just as a coin but as a symbol of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary, a reminder that history, luck, and human fascination can combine to elevate a humble penny into a multimillion-dollar legend.